Hey guys, welcome to the RAMZPAUL show. I'm right on time. I was almost late. Usually before a show, I like to listen to some boomer rock, and I was listening to some old Chicago, and they did a live concert at Tanglewood, and Terry Kath, that guy was a great guitarist. Yeah, I love that music, so I was just like listening to that. I'm like, oh shit, the show's ready. The show's ready. So it's good to be here. It's good to be here, guys. Welcome to the Ramsey Paul Show. I do this Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday. I do it at 11 a.m. on Friday. Now, as you see, it's 8 p.m. Central. It's our Friday evening show. Thank you for being here. This kind of caps the end of the week. And what a week it's been. It's just been crazy. I've been so rejuvenated doing streams after Trump is president. There's always stuff happening. Are you not entertained? And we had a whole ruckus in the White House. I've never seen anything like it in public, in the Oval Office. Donald Trump, Zelensky, and his pit bull, his hillbilly pit bull, J.D. Vance, came in there. And I haven't seen a meeting like that since original Godfather when Michael Corleone met Mo Green. Remember that meeting? Michael Corleone met Mo Green, and they had a little dispute, and that's what we had here. And it was a sight to behold. We're going to go through that quite a bit. A lot of fun stuff too that happened today. Trump did an executive order. English is now the official language. So if everyone says, "Oh, America doesn't have an official language," yeah, now we do, bitch. It's English. So if you see someone or hear someone not speaking English, don't take the law in your own hands. Just call ICE to send them back. Because this is America. We speak English. And I mean English, American English, not that with an Indian accent. We can't understand what the hell that is. I'm just like Trump. Remember there's that Indian asked a question supposedly in English. And he's like, I don't know what the hell you're saying. And we were all like, yes, Trump. That's how we all are on Indian tech support. That was pretty crazy. And then speaking of Indians, we had not Zelensky, Vivek Ramaswamy. I really like Vivek. And then he does this. He started to do. I started to get off the Vivek train on Christmas because he was trying to bring in his people to flood in Indians into America, and so he wants H-1B visas. And now he's running for governor, and it was like, what the hell? It was the image of him in barefoot with a suit on, and I was like, I don't need to see this. I don't want to see his gross feet. This isn't the America that I was used to. I know people have bare feet, but you just keep that private. And when you're having a formal meeting, you do not have bare feet. And don't worry, we'll get into the Zelensky stuff. But let me see if I had that up here. Because I was looking at the bare feet. And I'm like, ugh. I mean, how do I vote for this guy now after this? It's just, but I don't know if you saw that photo. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe I purged it because it was traumatic to see that. But I don't know what he was thinking. If you're going to wear a suit, put your shoes on. That's just the way it is. This isn't India. We're not your culture. We expect you to wear shoes. So, yeah, that was disappointing. And what else happened? Oh, we had the nothing burger about the Epstein files. They were going to release them all to influencers. And they all did a dance when they got the FBI documents. And it turned out everything was redacted. It was a nothing burger. I don't think we're ever going to get everything that has to do with that. I think that is forever going to be hidden from us. And that is the situation here. So let me see if I can see that. And then I did a prep for the Zelensky part, but I just thought about the J.D. Vance. I'm like, J.D., put your goddamn shoes on. You're doing a formal interview. You have suit. If you're wearing a suit, you do not go barefoot. But that's what he was doing. And I don't know. I don't know if I could support him after seeing his feet. I do not want to see a grown man's feet. Hey, it's okay if you're on the beach or if you happen to be, I don't know where it is. I don't want to see it. So it's just as well we don't see that. So guys, thank you for being here. Just a little bit how this works. Tonight is open mic Friday. So if you have a question, feel free to call in. All I ask is kind of like the old Rush Limbaugh show. Just ask your question. Don't give a whole speech because it makes for bad radio. And it's kind of like radio. So just ask and then get off. And I'm going to put it here in case you want to call in. We're a little bit more informal on Friday night. So you can call in and it's a lot of fun. So, and if you also want to interact with the show, and I don't get USAID money, so I appreciate Super Chats on YouTube. Rumble has rants. Powerchats, you see the link below. There's Powerchats, and Stream Elements has a tip feature. Hopefully, we'll get that passed. No tax on tips. No tax on tips, and everything I do is tips. So I'm hoping that will be the case. I already got a caller. Arthur, how you doing, Arthur F? How you doing?
I'm doing well, Paul. Thanks for taking my call. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's your question?
Oh, okay, cool. So, before Zelensky went in, I read the news that Trump had extended the what do you call when we limit the power of Russia to do business with other countries? The what's the name of the word?
Sanctions, you mean?
Sanctions,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
All right. So Trump had renewed the sanctions for another year. I don't know why he did that. Do you think that because of that, Zelensky thought, "Oh, this is a great idea. It means that he's already on my way, so I might as well go ahead and do whatever the hell I want to do." That's all my only question.
All right, thank you, and I'll answer that. So I'll just see. That's the perfect how Arthur did it. Just get in, ask your question, and I'll answer it. I don't think so. I don't think I'm on YouTube, so I won't say the R word. But I don't understand Zelensky. I know there's people that are cunning. I know he's a liar, Zelensky, because I followed him. He could tell you one thing on that, and then later in the day, he could tell the media something totally different. He did that in Munich. Remember, he met with J.D. Vance and Rubio, and he said, yeah, I'm really excited about this mineral deal with you in the United States. I'm for this. In fact, I proposed this originally. Yes, I'm excited about it. And so J.D. Vance and Rubio, it was confidential. They said, hey, great, we'll be able to work here. Wasn't like 2 hours later, that little weasel was out in front of the press. Oh, they're trying to make me sign this deal I don't want to sign. They're going to take all my precious minerals. And J.D. Vance and Rubio were like, what the hell? What the hell is this guy doing? And that is Zelensky. He's just very unreliable. Some people say he's a cokehead. He could be. He has those mannerisms. But you can't trust him. Whatever he says, it doesn't mean anything because he changes his mind daily. And I was right. RAMZPAUL was right on this. If you guys remember, they had all this build up to the mineral deal. And I'm like, Zelensky can't agree to anything. I mean, yeah, he may agree to it now, but in an hour from now, it may be totally different. He's like a dog. He just lives in the moment. He can't think in the future whatsoever. And that's no offense to my dog. I think my dog can think more in the future. So Zelensky, because he's unreliable, I predicted, I don't think there's going to be a mineral deal because, yeah, he's all for it now. But when he gets to Washington, he'll just change his mind because that's how he rolls. And the whole thing, the reason he went to Washington was his initiative. It wasn't Trump. Trump said, okay, I'll meet with you. I'm not inviting you, but if you want to meet with me, good. Trump said, okay, we got an agreement on the mineral deal. And if you remember that, Zelensky went back and forth with this mineral deal. He originally proposed it before Trump was even president. It was when Donald Trump was president-elect. He went to Mar-a-Lago and he goes, hey, I know you're kind of squeamish about giving us more money, but how about if we, get a mineral deal with you? We have all these rare earth minerals. And a little disclaimer, he probably doesn't. That's in eastern Ukraine, controlled by the Russians. So, Trump said, yeah, that's a good thing, because Trump's all about deals, making money. Trump's a businessman. What's good for America? So he got in Trump's head, and then he started to push with Zelensky. And again, in Munich, Zelensky was all on board. An hour later, he was opposed to it. But then, like a day or two later, he was for it again. And Trump goes, okay, great, great. We're going to have a historic deal. And you can come here and well, no, he didn't even invite him to Washington. He goes, great, we'll have a historic deal. And at the time, I said, I don't think this is going to last. And a lot of people misrepresented it. They said, the war has ended. Peace has been reached. I'm like, no, it hasn't. Yeah, it's just this cokehead agreed for this hour to the mineral deal. Big deal. But Zelensky wanted to come to Washington to make a big show of signing the mineral deal, right? Okay. And in these type of things, when you do diplomacy, it's usually all done beforehand, behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, you will fight, you will carry on, but there's a diplomatic way to do it in front of the press. So then when you go in front of the press, you kind of lock arms with your person you're with, and you give a joint statement. And at least in front of the press, you just all love each other and everything. And so with this mineral deal, even before he came to Washington, it should have been ironed out. And I think it was ironed out, and he agreed to it. And so the idea was, okay, well, you come here, we'll have an official signing, and then you'll say, yeah, I really love you Americans. This is going to be a great deal to you, and I'm really going to work for peace, and, that type of stuff. And, hey, thank you for giving me all these billions of dollars, half of which I can't account for, but, hey, thank you for that. You think that would be his attitude, right? Oh, no. That's not Zelensky. Zelensky shows up, and all of a sudden he decides he doesn't know if he really wants to do this mineral deal. And then they have this press conference in the Oval Office. And I'm not going to show the whole thing, but I'll show parts of it. And he just started ramble on about shit. And it really initially then pissed off J.D. Vance. Because he said, because J.D. Vance has dealt with this bastard before. And he just got pissed off. And he told Zelensky, hey, this should be behind the scenes stuff. This isn't the time to start debating everything. And Zelensky acted like an entitled bitch. And I never, in my whole life, I've never seen anything like this on the diplomatic stage. Ever, this bad. This was the worst showing I have ever seen. It will go down in the history books. And President Trump said, during it, we'll see this. He said, I let this go on because I basically wanted the world to see what an idiot this guy is. And the guy is. Zelensky's an idiot. Because even if you hate Donald Trump, and even if you hate J.D. Vance, he's dependent upon America. Because this was a proxy war between America and Russia. We provided around 70% of the money and weapons. Europe did a little bit, but they don't have shit. They're weak. It's America. And we provided the money and the weapons for this proxy war. And there almost wasn't a war. Remember, after it started, there was a peace agreement. But Biden, Anthony Blinken, sabotaged it. He sent that mop-haired guy, Boris Johnson is his name, to Kyiv to scuttle the deal. And then the war raged on, killed a couple more people. And remember, the war started in 2014 when Victoria Nuland, that fat bitch, was meddling in the Ukrainian elections or government, and she helped to conduct a coup with Soros. Anyway, so it's a big mess. And as Trump said Trump's always quick to remind everyone, he had nothing to do with this mess. It was the other administration. So Trump wants to wrap up this war because he doesn't see the point of it. And we don't have the money. We have a big financial crisis, and we got to do other things at this point. So Trump wants to wrap this up. That's what Trump wants to do. And so he's talking to Putin, and he's trying to talk to Zelensky, but he's just getting more and more pissed with Zelensky because Zelensky, there's almost no reason to talk to the guy because the guy just, he doesn't really give a damn about being consistent or the truth. He'll tell you one thing, right now to your face. 10 minutes later, he'll be a whole different story. So how do you deal with someone like that? I mean, you can't. And so this was a total disaster. And we'll kind of go through some of these elements here. So guys, thank you for joining again. If you want to call in or super chats and keep them coming. Rowhouse, how would you deal with this with the Ukrainian Smurf. Let me just take a look at this super chat. And yeah, I'm gonna thank you, Rowhouse. I'm gonna cover that. I have that, so I have that link. We'll cover that. So we're gonna cover that. But thank you for your support. And let's see here. Oh, I got a that was a rant. Now I got a super chat. Jay, thank you. Screw that ingrate Zelensky. He had the nerve to say nobody backed him. Yeah, I don't. Again, going back, I know he's a weasel, but even cunning people, they kind of, even evil people or criminals, sometimes they have an animal cunning. Even if they're not super smart, they know what to say in certain situations. But Zelensky, I don't know if it's the cocaine or what, but he's just stupid. He doesn't know how to present himself. Because again, even if he hated the Americans and he wants to play us for suckers and he likes to get the money so his wife can go on spending sprees and he can have his secret bank accounts. Because by the way, that is what's happening, You know that is what's happening. That's his exit strategy. He can't have an exit strategy. We got to hunt him down. But that's what he's planning. But you think if he's planning that, he would be kissing ass in public to Trump and JD Vance, kissing their ass. Then, yeah, in private, he could swear at them, whatever. But that's just diplomacy. That's what he needs to do because we don't need him. He needs us. And JD Vance was so frustrated. He's like, you never say thank you. You just always want more, 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 more. You always lie. You're always bitching. You're always complaining. And he's a deadbeat. He's never going to pay anything back. And it just, you could tell it frustrates him. And so, yeah, I agree with you. We don't owe him anything. And let's go through some of this stuff. It was amazing. It's going to be one of the things. I'm going to start from the beginning here. It started, and I'll show this. But before I show this, did you guys ever see the movie The Irishman? If you haven't, it's really a great series. I think it was on Netflix. Robert De Niro, I think, was there. It was about Jimmy Hoffa and his hitman, basically. But anyway, Jimmy Hoffa, the character, was meeting someone in the mob. And the other guy that showed up, he was just dressed in shorts and, like a Hawaiian shirt. And they're like, is this how you dressed in a meeting? What kind of message are you giving? And that's really important. There's a lot of messages that are given. And when you go to the United States of America, right, and you're begging for money, which Zelensky's doing, and you're already on pretty bad terms. Zelensky should have known that because he campaigned for Joe Biden, right? He meddled in our politics. So you think he'd be like, okay, I'm going to put my stupid wardrobe away and I'm going to wear a suit because I'm at the Oval Office and this is what I need to do. I need to show up looking presentable because that's just showing respect. That's how you do things in business. If you don't do that, you're just showing that you're not very respectful to the situation. And again, if you have the power, that's fine. But if you're dependent on someone else, you got to dress properly. And it all started when this little hobbit showed up, or goblin, I guess it'd be more like it. And so Trump greeted him. Trump didn't see him off either, but he did greet him. And Trump says, hey, you're all dressed up, I see. Let me see. Let's hear if you can hear this again. So he's saying, oh, I see you're all dressed up. And when Trump's saying that, if you guys don't understand, that's sarcastic. That's not a compliment when you're coming looking shitty. You don't even bother to put on the suit. And Trump said, oh, I see you got all dressed up. He's being ironic. So right away, Trump is signaling that Zelensky didn't give a damn to even come looking presentable.
Pretty close. Pretty shut.
He's all dressed up today.
He's not dressed up. So Trump is pointing this out. Now, Zelensky's probably too stupid to understand this. But if someone says that, you have to read between the lines. It'd be like, for example, I'm going to some corporate function back in the day, and everyone's in suits, and I'm just in a polo shirt. And the CEO says, "Oh, look at here's Ramsey Paul. I see you're all dressed up today, huh? Look at him." That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing, right? Zelensky's too stupid. I mean, how tall is Zelensky? He's like 5'5". He looks like he's a midget. But I don't think Zelensky understands really what's going on here. So Trump already is signaling that he's pissed off that Zelensky couldn't put on a suit and a tie. And I know not everyone likes suits and ties, but you have to do that at certain functions. Trump, he's not in shorts. He's not in a polo shirt. He's wearing a suit and a tie. Zelensky should understand that. He should have shown up in a suit and a tie. Because after all, Zelensky's coming to beg for money. He needs to be respectful.
Trump, what's your message to Vladimir Putin, sir? President Trump. President Trump, you got a message to Vladimir Putin.
Thank you very much.
All right. So Zelensky showed up looking like his usual bum self. And Trump called him out on it. If you understand that, that's what he does. And Trump didn't let it go. This is actually a real thing here. And this is before it all went bad. But already Trump, in his mind, is thinking he's disrespecting me. He's disrespecting America and the office here. We all are in suits. We all dress formal. And here's this bum showing up, and he's worth millions with all the money he stole. I half expected it to Trump say, there's a Goodwill down the street, get yourself a damn suit and come back when you're dressed appropriately. And this was an issue for Trump. And, I got another one. Morgoth, thank you. I really like your Godfather comparison. Great show, truly inspiring. Funny how all these guys were Catholic. Thank you. I appreciate you, Morgoth. The Morgoth, not 009, he's part of our roundtable. By the way, our roundtables are excellent. We have those every Tuesday night, and I have in the link in the description a link to my Substack. Join that. It's a lot of fun. We got a great community, and 009's usually on. He's a great commentator, so thank you for that. All right, so let's just take a look at how this is still pissing Trump off. I understand. Maybe people in Europe don't understand this, but it's pissing Trump off because he can't get it out of his head. So here they are. They're all in the Oval Office. Every man is in a suit and a tie except for one. All right, there's a problem here, right? I'm saying there's a problem here. If you're coming to beg for money and you're the only one that's not dressed appropriately, you'll be like, oh shit, what am I doing here? So who is coaching Zelensky? Who's his PR team, right? They should understand, hey, this is a formal environment. This is the office of the President of the United States. Donald Trump, especially if you're a visiting dignitary, you got to put on a damn suit and tie. This is what we expect. We don't want your little outfit that you do for Hollywood. You need to be presentable. So let's take a look at this here.
Second
My
question.
second question for President Zelensky. Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I don't have
the
such.
office.
I will wear costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like
maybe
this?
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than yeah. Thank you. Thank you for.
So this guy called it out, and Trump was aware of this. So already this put Zelensky on a bad foot because it showed disrespect. It just showed that you're arrogant. You don't give a shit about the customs. It'd be like, for example, I don't know other cultures, but let's say if I went to Japan and I was going to meet the emperor and they had a certain protocol that you're supposed to take your shoes off before you enter the temple. I don't know. I don't know their customs. I'm just saying. And everyone else does it. And I'm like, yeah, hell with that. And I just tromp in with my boots on. That's how Zelensky was doing. And it was, so it started bad, and then it just got worse. And we're going to watch a part of it. It went for about a half hour, but this is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in a public forum. I've seen fights behind the scenes, but geez, this will go down in the ages. So let's take a look at this here.
He occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014.
By the way, right away, Trump was looking skeptical, and J.D. Vance is, as I said, I put a post on X. He's kind of Trump's pit bull. He's his hillbilly pit bull. J.D. Vance is kind of like my background, Scots-Irish. He actually comes from close to the area my grandparents were from. They were in southern Indiana. He was in northern Kentucky, his family, and Appalachia. And he grew up kind of white trash. You probably know his story, but he's a really clever man. He's really brilliant. And Trump sees that in him. And Trump would have never brought Mike Pence to something like this. He brought J.D. Vance there for a reason. It might have been a good cop, bad cop. But if J.D. Vance is there, that's not a good sign, right? He's bringing his pit bull on, because J.D. Vance doesn't take any crap from anyone. And we'll see this here.
So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was,
he
I
killed,
was not here.
yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people are been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners.
Right. Trump's already getting pissed because this guy's just going through the whole history and complaining about stuff. And Trump's like, yeah, I don't want to hear it. I want to peace still.
But he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr.
are
President,
not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
What's happened here, and there was more to this, and this is why they're pissed off, is because J.D. Vance, they were talking behind the scenes and they thought they were in agreement. But Zelensky, he's a bitch, and he always likes to try to show people up in front of the media, and he thought he was going to show up Trump and Vance by arguing with them. And J.D. Vance is calling him out on it. He said, you don't do this in public, and I'm not going to tolerate it. That's what J.D. Vance is doing. And you can see the body language already. Zelensky's got his arms crossed. That means he's defensive. And J.D. Vance, he's not scared of him. He's not going to be this guy's bitch. And Zelensky's used to everyone cowering to him. And, oh, you're just Churchill, you're just Jesus. These guys aren't going to do that. They're like, no, you're just a little dictator, right? That's all you are. And we're not going to take your shit.
Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them.
Right there, by the way, he did a slur. And we're going to show this. He called J.D. Vance a bitch in Russian there. And well, I'll show you the video more that showed it. And ironically, he was speaking Russian. And I confirmed it. I know a girl. I've met her in Canada. She's ethnically Russian. That was her first language. She said, yeah, it does sound like he called JD Vance a bitch in Russian there. Not a good look, right? Not a good look.
I'm on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future.
All right. Now, wait a minute. No, bitch, you don't go here. He's making kind of a threat like, oh, you don't know it now. You have an ocean, but you're going to feel the problems in the future. And that just sets off Trump right away. That's going to set him off right away.
God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
Because Zelensky said, oh, you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel all the bad things. And at that point, Trump lost it and said, no, wait, bitch, shut up. And Trump didn't know that Zelensky muttered bitch under his breath there. So Trump's like, no, you don't say that. You don't come in here and tell us how we're going to feel. And look at the body language. Trump is pissed off. He's looking him square in the eye. Zelensky, with his stupid ass shirt on, is in a very defensive position with his arms crossed.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember that.
You're in no position to dictate. Remember that. So I don't understand how Zelensky's not picking this up, but the American administration is just being straight out forceful with them and just saying, you're not in a position to dictate anything to us. And Trump has got his finger up, making this clear to Zelensky.
You're in no position to dictate.
Now look at Zelensky rolling his eyes, looking away from Trump. Now his eyes, it's funny when you just look at the dynamics of body language and stuff. Zelensky here is intimidated. Trump is not intimidated. Trump is pissed off at this point when he heard that implied threat that Zelensky was making, that it's going to be your problem, Trump. And he's like, oh, no, we're backing up here.
Hey, what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
Feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
it. From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now.
So Trump is right, because Trump obviously is the president of the United States. He gets all the reports, the CIA, NSA, all of that. He knows the situation, Department of the Defense. They tell him what's happening on the battlefield. And the mainstream media and the propagandists, mostly through USAID, they've been lying to you. Ukraine's losing. They know that. They have the satellite data. They understand that. Trump is saying, you do not have the right to start dictating stuff to us. You do not have the cards.
With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards.
And Zelensky, we're not playing cards. And he said, and Trump's like, yeah, you're playing cards, and without us, you don't have any cards. You have a losing hand.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. And it's really frustrating Trump because he's trying to bring peace. And Zelensky is clear. He wants World War III. He wants the United States in the war with Russia.
You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No.
And then JD Vance gets really upset, like, because we've given this little creep like $350 billion. Well, we don't know. Who knows? Because our government has like no accounting practices, I guess. So who knows? And we're starting to ask where this money went. Zelensky, I don't know where half of it went. I'm like, yeah, that's not a good answer, Zelensky. That's not a good answer. But he thinks it's just okay to say that. And JD Vance is just like, you entitled bastard. Did you ever once thank us? You just come here and bitch and complain and want more and more and more.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting
today,
that you said thank
even
you,
today.
you went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October.
Yeah, so this is true. Zelensky campaigned for not Joe Biden. He dropped out Kamala Harris. Basically the same thing.
Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not
Now that pisses off, right? Now Trump gets really pissed off here because Zelensky thinks he can tone police JD Vance. And he's already pissed Trump off. He's too stupid to understand it. When he got out of the limousine and he was not dressed properly, he had pissed Trump off. He was too stupid to understand it. In fact, Trump had to have a guy directly tell him, you're the head of state. Everyone else around here is dressed appropriately. You don't give a fuck. And you're disrespecting the office. And Trump's like, mm-hmm. And then it just builds up. And then he's trying to say, it's going to be your problem, America, and you're going to feel it. Trump's like, no, wait, no, we're stopping there. Now Zelensky is trying to tone police JD Vance, saying he's talking too loud in America's Oval Office, in Trump's Oval Office. And it's like, what in the hell are you doing? Trump at this point is just really pissed.
speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your
No, you've done a lot of talking.
country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said.
So he's saying from the very beginning, they've been alone. Talk about a kick in the face, spitting in our face. We have given $350 billion, probably more. Who knows? No one knows. We don't have the money. We're doing layoffs in our government. We're in financial problems. And this guy's, we're just all alone. No one's helped us. And Trump's just getting more and more angry at this little goblin by the minute, by the second.
Thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet.
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
allowed.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president,
We gave you through that stupid president.
$350 billion.
You voted
We gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West?
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me.
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over.
So Trump's angry. And rightfully so. I mean, this little bitch, he's coming at demanding more money. He's demanding that our sons and daughters die for him. Really, that's what he's trying to say with the security guarantee. That's what Zelensky means. He means he wants a guarantee if Russians are mean to him, your sons and daughters have to die for his corrupt nation. That's what he's saying. And then he's saying, we've never had any help. We've always just been alone. And that just, again, this has just been building up from not dressing properly to bitching to saying, it's going to be your problem, America. You're going to feel it. To a JD Vance saying, you're just talking too loud. And now he's saying that, we just always been alone. And that just set Trump off. And I don't blame Trump. It's just like, because Trump doesn't like this guy in the first place. Because you got to understand, Zelensky campaigned for Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania. Trump, so he doesn't have any reason to like this guy. They've had so many troubles with this guy previously. He can't maintain a deal. He lies. He's a cokehead. He's a crook. And they know it. They know where he's, Zelensky thinks he's cute when he goes to the UAE and he has the secret bank accounts. They know. They know what Zelensky's doing with the money. And the only reason Zelensky is breathing is because of the good graciousness of Donald Trump. Because we could remove the protection from him, he's going to be swinging from a telephone pole pretty soon. He probably will be now. And so he comes in, instead of being respectful, he comes in like a little bitch arguing as a beggar.
in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
And see, Trump's a businessman. It almost goes back to the mafia where they separate the personal from the business. And you don't have to like someone you're doing business with, but if they're very disrespectful and you can't count on them, Trump has said here it's going to be very difficult to do business with this guy. Zelensky's too stupid to understand really what that means. That's like Henry VIII saying, "Is anyone going to rid me of this troublesome priest?" Right? That has some code words. And Trump saying, "I don't know if I can do business with this guy." That is a signal. Zelensky's too stupid to understand that. I understand what Trump's saying. Trump's now looking at J.D. Vance from Rubio with that look saying, "You know what we need to do with Zelensky."
Say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have
So Trump, I never know how to understand Trump because there's times Trump just seems out of it. You know, he just seems goofy. But then other times he seems very deep and kind of understands what he's doing. And he does things intentionally that a lot of people don't understand. And I hate the whole 4D chess thing, but sometimes I think he does do 4D chess. And Trump is basically saying he was doing a 4D chess thing here, that I'm going to give Zelensky a lot of rope and I'm going to allow him to hang himself in front of everyone. And I'm not going to stop him. So I get what you're saying, J.D. Vance. This should be done in private. And I would have been happy to have done it in private. But this asshole can't keep his mouth shut. He's going to run it in front of the cameras because he's like an e-thought, likes to pimp himself in front of the cameras. And Trump's like, "Hey, I'll just give you the rope, hang yourself in front of the American people. Well, everyone can see what we have to deal with here."
to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers. Listen,
Don't
you're
please,
running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, "I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this." Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire.
guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire.
So he wants a ceasefire with guarantees, which means the United States gets in the war. And this is really pissing Trump off, right? Because Putin has shown, and Putin may be lying, right? I'm not necessarily saying Putin's a great guy or anything, but Putin's not stupid. He knows how to deal with Trump. He knows how to deal diplomatically. And Putin's like, "Of course I want a ceasefire. Let's make this work," right? And Zelensky, he's too fucking dumb to understand that all he has to say, "Yeah, of course, Mr. President, we all want a ceasefire. We want the war to end. We want to end it on just terms. And I'm 100% behind that. This pains me to see this all happening. And I just want to say thank you to you, Mr. President. Thank you to J.D. Vance. I am so sorry that you didn't feel my gratefulness. That is my fault. And I know you probably think I've disrespected the office, how I'm dressed. That was my fault too. And don't hold that against my people because of how I behaved today. Of course, we're grateful to you. Of course, we want the end of the war. However I can work with you, we're going to make this happen." I'm just a guy from Arkansas, right? Does that sound like a better thing to say? Zelensky's being, I assume, coached and has PR representatives from Starmer, the idiot in Britain, Macron, and the girl boss in the EU. Don't they have people around them just explaining basic things like this? And the more Zelensky runs his mouth, the worse it is for him. There's just basic things he has to say. And again, in private, if he wants to get a beer and bitch about it and call Trump and J.D. Vance a bitch. What's that asshole? He called J.D. Vance a bitch in Russian in the Oval Office. This guy's fucked. But I don't know what he's thinking. I really don't. Rumor has it he's on coke, and there could be. but he's not acting rationally. I don't understand that. And we always have this higher standard of Europeans. We always assume Europeans are more sophisticated about diplomacy and how to act. And, oh, we're just ignorant hicks in America. We don't understand this. Well, I'm just an ignorant hick from Arkansas, and I think I could do the diplomacy better than Zelensky. You know, I don't understand what he's trying to do here.
Faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that
is
was with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards, but without us, you don't have any cards.
Right. So he's making this very plain. As you know, Zelensky here, he's got his hands covering his crotch. He's in a very defensive position. He's looking very stunned. He doesn't know how to act. Look at his eyes right there. And Trump is just saying things bluntly. Like, you don't have any cards without America, meaning you can't fight the Russians without American backing. As simple as that. The Europeans are pussies and they're weak. They can't help you. It's us. And if we're the ones you need, you cannot go in here and under your breath call my vice president a bitch in Russian. Fuck you. You can't say that this is our problem and we're going to have to care. Screw you on that. You can't come in. No one has helped us over all these years when we've given you $350 billion, not million, $1 billion. And you can't say, oh, JD Vance, you need to lower your voice. You know, and then that just set Trump off. And I don't blame Trump on this. I don't know why he didn't punch him. This is just like, Trump was really pissed off, and Trump is taking this personally, as he should. And Zelensky, his body language is horrible here.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
What if
She's asking,
Russia-
what if
if
Russia
Putin
breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if
I know. That's a stupid question.
a bomb drops on your head right now?
But they have
Okay?
broken
What if they
ceasefire
broke it?
many
I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
But what
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I
All right. That gives you the sense of the press conference. Again, I've never seen anything like that on a diplomatic level. And it is, that was raw. That was just how it is. And as again, Trump was, let me get this out of here. Trump was very upset with Zelensky, how he acted. And let me just play this. This is a part that supposedly Zelensky called J.D. Vance a bitch in Russian. We're going to try to listen to this.
What happens is you bring people. I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people.
So he calls them that.
You bring them on a propaganda tour.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr.
So that's not going to play well for, and again, my Russian friend speaks outside. That does sound like what he said. So Zelensky is putting the rope around his own neck, and it is pretty bad. And let's listen to Trump more about this. That Zelensky needs to make a deal, or we're out. We have the cards. He has to play with us.
I don't know what happened, but he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And
so what Trump is saying, and he's looking very harsh at Zelensky. Zelensky is not making eye contact, if you notice this. And Trump is saying, you're acting like this tough guy. The only reason you're acting like this tough guy and you're not being reasonable is because we're backing you. And you don't seem to understand that, right? You think you're some tough badass, but you're a little weak bitch here covering your crotch as we're dressing you down. And you better fucking realize that. Otherwise, you're going to be swinging from piano wire from a telephone pole. That's going to be your fate here. And that's probably the best fate for you, unless you end up like Gonzalo Lira and tortured. So you better get your act together. And he's telling them in very straight terms here.
your people are very brave, but you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out.
I've said this before. I've said this weeks ago. A lot of people disagreed with me. And again, Zelensky refuses to make eye contact if you see her. Trump is making this very simple. He says, you either make a deal, otherwise we're out of this. We're washing our hands of this mess. So have fun fighting the Russians without our weapons and money. Yeah, go to the bitches in England or France, see what they can do. Good luck with that. England, well, there are 3,000 troops they have or whatever. Good luck with that. Or Germany, where we've gone green and they don't have any factories anymore. Good luck with that. So Trump is making it very clear to him.
I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Yeah, Trump was right about that. And according to Trump, he did this intentionally. I mean, he knew that Zelensky was probably going to do this, and he just allowed this to be on television. So Trump is basically saying that he needs to follow through. And here we have some more of this. I mean, this was there's a whole build up to this where Zelensky was getting more and more annoying.
It'll be a very hard thing to do business like this, I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media.
We saw this one, yeah. So that was Zelensky getting upset. He raised his voice, and all right. So it did not end well there. And the Ukrainians were told, here we go, that they need to get the hell out of the White House. And Zelensky got booted out. The Ukrainian delegation pleaded for the resumption of dialogue after the quarrel between Trump and Zelensky, but they were told that the Ukrainian leader must leave the White House. So they wanted to start talking again, and Trump said, I think I've heard enough. And you need to get the hell out. And this was a great thing. They didn't even get their lunch because they have like a formal lunch for these people. So take a look at this here. Trump's like, yeah, you go to McDonald's. You ain't gonna eat here.
This is what I was told. Yeah, I just went up to the press area to get an understanding of what we're watching. This is what I was told. The president has kicked Zelensky out of the White House. His delegation right now is telling him that he's got to go home.
You got to leave. You're not welcome here anymore.
The president felt disrespected. Officials in the room felt that beyond the language barrier that we've heard some discussion about, Zelensky's body language, shrugging and eye rolling, was ungrateful, disrespectful. And the president feels that Zelensky is not ready for peace and he can come back when he's ready to talk about peace. But he's not in that position right now. And Zelensky is being told he's got to go. The lunch that they were supposed to have is sitting right outside the hallway, and the press staffers are going to be eating that lunch. This is really pretty incredible. We see the SUV.
Hang on with us.
Yeah, so he didn't even get his lunch. They had their lunch, and Trump said the press can eat the lunch. Zelensky, he's not eating the lunch. He can go to the Wendy's. He can go to McDonald's. We're not feeding him. He needs to go get the hell out of that. So, and then Trump on Truth Social made a statement about this, and let me just show you his official statement. This was a historical day. I've never seen anything like this in my life on a political level. Statement from President Donald J. Trump. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It is amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiation. I don't want advantage, I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America and his cherished Oval Office. He did that in many ways, by the way, starting with his dress. He can come back when he's ready for peace. So Trump is, well, you heard him. He says, you're just trying to act like you're a hard-ass big guy, tough guy, because we're funding you. And because of that, you think you can talk shit to us and we're always going to give in. And he said, I'm not going to enable that behavior. If you're going to act like that, you can fight the Russians on your own, or go cry to the girl boss of the EU, see what that bitch can do for you. We don't have that issue. And you don't want the Russians to get you. So maybe you should, adjust your attitude a little bit here. So that was a key thing. And one of the things, let me see this here. I couldn't believe this. Lindsey Graham, who's always been in the pocket of the Ukrainians, this is Lindsey Graham coming out supporting Donald Trump.
All right. So, what I think? Complete, utter disaster. I've been to Ukraine 8 or 9 times since the war started. I understand the consequences of Putin's actions against Ukraine. I appreciate what the Ukrainian people have done. They fought like tigers. At the end of the day, I was hoping that this minerals deal, which would be transformative in the relationship, would go over well.
Right, because remember beforehand, that was the reason that Zelensky came to America, that he agreed to the mineral deal. But as I predicted, this cokehead can't agree to anything. He changes his mind every hour. And he decided that he wanted to do some lecturing to the media about how bad America was. And Donald Trump said, okay, we'll give you a rope to hang yourself if that's what you want to do.
I talked to Zelensky this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night. Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of...
So he told Zelensky, just smile for the cameras, probably, because he said, don't take the bait, smile for the cameras, sign the mineral deal, saying maybe, yeah, we're thankful to work with Americans. We hope to resolve this war soon. That's all you had to say, right? That's all the little bitch had to say. But nope, not Zelensky.
J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
That's strong language. And Lindsey Graham is a powerful senator. He was one of the biggest advocates of Zelensky. And he's saying, I don't think we can do business with Zelensky ever again based on his disrespectful attitude, eye rolling, crossed arms, telling J.D. Vance that he's a bitch, complaining to Trump that J.D. Vance is talking too loud, complaining that they didn't get any help, that this is really our problem. Yeah.
I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top.
Yeah, and JD Zelensky, I don't understand what he was thinking. I really don't. I think he's just used to everyone kissing his ass. He thought he could go in there and try to bully Trump and JD Vance, which I don't know where the hell you get that idea. You do not bully Trump or JD Vance. They bully you. That's how it works. So how when he got into his little goblin head, he could bully them. And you saw how they bitch slapped him in his place. And he was the one crossing his arms, covering his dick, and looking away from Trump. He wouldn't make eye contact. If you've had dogs, when one dog is scared of another dog, they don't make eye contact. They look away. He was looking away from Trump. Trump was looking right at him, giving him the riot act.
So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But can Zelensky do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know.
What would he need to do?
So it looks like Zelensky lost one of his big advocates in America, and that is huge. And I really don't know what. Yeah, maybe the Europeans can't control Zelensky, the British or the French, because you always think the French are sophisticated. And to be fair, Macron was with Trump, and he handled himself pretty good. And even Starmer, that little commie from England, he handled himself pretty well, right? Because I don't like him. Probably Macron did a little better, but they understand. They understand diplomacy. They understand how you discuss things with people, especially in front of the cameras, right? It's another thing behind closed doors. Sometimes you have to talk frank. But in front of the cameras in the Oval Office, you do not call the President of the United States a bitch under your breath. He didn't even have the balls to say it loud. He just muttered it. And you don't act like an entitled little bitch. And then you don't cross your arms. You don't look away and all that type of stuff. That's not how you do it. I don't know how in the hell, they didn't. Maybe the Europeans can't control him. Maybe Zelensky's just a hopeless cause. But Trump is pissed now. And I don't know if Trump's going to put up with their crap anymore. Marjorie Taylor Greene, from the beginning of the war, I made it clear where I stand. Peace. Zelensky has been a bad actor from the start. Kind of a pun because he's literally an actor. What we saw today is the culmination of an arrogant small man's ego. He is a little guy. Finally meeting world leaders who won't put up with it. God bless President Trump and Vice President Vance. So I think a lot of people are happy with how Trump and Vance handled it. Orban came out in support of it too. Orban, strong men make peace, weak men make war. Weak man being Zelensky. Today, real Donald Trump stood bravely for peace, even if it was difficult for many to digest. Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Donald Trump came within a quarter of an inch of being assassinated. Donald Trump, he's like the honey badger. He don't care anymore. He's going to say what he thinks. And you're not going to try to bully Trump. That ain't going to work. So Zelensky, the reaction was immediate from the Americans. And there could be, I don't know, maybe Trump will cool down. But we'll see immediately. The first response was the State Department terminates U.S. support of Ukraine energy grid restoration. Yeah, bitches. Europe can get their energy working, not us. So it was an amazing day for, you know, the whole war and everything that has happened in there. It was interesting, that is for sure. And I got a power chat from Steve Campbell. Thank you. LOL, Zelensky single-handedly debunks a higher verbal myth of his kin, whoever they are. Yeah. I mean, again, a lot of other people like Netanyahu can be a little bit more polite. I don't know what's up with Zelensky. He's got some personal problems, or I don't know. The guy has issues, and he's very arrogant, and he doesn't understand basic things. And yeah, he did really, it's just pretty horrible what has happened there. All right, let's see here. Pam Hyde. The only way this could have been better is if Zelensky had been barefoot. Yeah, just like Vivek. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It was a disaster. I've never seen a diplomatic meeting with this as bad as that. All right, I think I got another super chat. So let's see here. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Scroll. Thank you guys for being here. It's always great to see you all. And I hope you like our shows on Wednesday with Z-Man. They're so much fun. $20. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see here if I can read this. Got to get my cataract operation so I can read better, but I'm going to go to this other place where I can read it a little easier. Okay. Watching videos of Z dancing in heels in mid-ref top, playing the piano with his with their ding dong. He's an actor, a joke degenerate. Yeah. Zelensky, he was an actor, a comedian, I guess. And he's over his head, obviously. And I feel sorry for the Ukrainian people that they have this guy here. Hopefully they will take action and remove him quickly for the sake of Ukraine. Zelensky's not a serious man. He lacks basic negotiating skills. I mean, basic. Like, I could do better. And I'm not trained, but I could do better than him. And he was an embarrassment, how he behaved. And I don't, you know. So Trump is, as I predicted, I think what Trump is going to happen is that Trump will just make a deal with Putin. And then whatever happens. And he's just going to drop aid to Ukraine is what's going to happen. And that's probably a good way out of it. That's the way I've always predicted it. It's like, okay, you know, Ukraine, you can make a deal or not. If you don't, well, it's up to you. But we're under no obligation to fund you forever. So have fun on your own. And by the way, Ukraine is losing, and they should know that. And it was a disaster. So, yeah, that made for an interesting time today. I was in, when I saw this going down, I was with Sasha in Huntsville, Arkansas. If you guys know where Huntsville was, I had to go there. And it's a small town. And it was great. We were in a little diner called Grandma's Diner. It was packed, really good food. I had some pork barbecue. It was delicious. And it was a great diner. It was like packed, no diversity, not one diversity in there. It was wonderful. It's like heaven. And so it was a beautiful spring day, and seemed like spring. It's feeling like spring. It's been beautiful. So I really had a great time with that. K-Max. Thank you, K-Max. K-Max, a great supporter. Hope you're doing well, K-Max. Media would bring up Putin and journalists, yet never bring up Gonzalo Lira. If Rams was a journalist, would that be the question to Zelensky, or two other key ones to ask? Well, they asked him about Gonzalo, and Zelensky lied and said he didn't know who he was. That's a lie, because obviously if they took American as a prisoner, they knew it went up to Zelensky. And they tortured Gonzalo Lira. But the dirty little secret, I think the State Department and the Biden regime was okay with Gonzalo Lira being tortured and killed for opposing the war. Because, again, Gonzalo Lira was just a journalist. I had him on my show. I interviewed him. Nice guy. He just gave his opinion. He had an apartment in Ukraine. He just gave his opinion. And they arrested him and tortured him and they killed him. So, yeah, fuck you, the Ukrainian government. They're evil. And they're not some democracy or anything like that. And I'm tired of my tax dollars went to help kill Gonzalo Lira. Dion Isa. Thank you, Dion Isa. Zelensky's behavior is disgusting. I appreciate the call to kick him out after acting so ghetto. I'm convinced he is high. I've had a lot of people say that he is on coke. Seriously, I've never done coke, as a disclaimer. So I don't know what it's like, but they said his mannerisms are like someone that has a coke addiction. And yeah, that's the thing. Biden would still have had lunch with that jerk. Yeah, Biden was very weak and almost comatose. And even though Biden supposedly, the press reported, got mad at Zelensky on a phone call for Zelensky being an entitled bastard, and Biden cursed him out. So even Biden, who doesn't even know what's going on or didn't know what's going on, he even got mad at Zelensky. So I don't know if it's a cocaine or that's just the way it is. That is pretty crazy. So yeah, thank you for that. So those were the big news and for the day. And the other big news, again, was English is now our official language in America. And that's important because that's what binds the people together. And yeah, I think that was huge, but it was kind of overshadowed about this event that happened. This one photo I have to show you. This was so great. The guy had such a good comment here. Here it is. Here you have J.D. Vance. And someone wrote, not in this tweet, you have the Anglo that is sitting back smirking, like looking at the rat that's cornered and enjoying it. And then you have Marco Rubio there, kind of the Latin blood, like, I want to kill you. Marco Rubio's like, why are we keeping this rat alive? Whereas J.D. Vance says, have some more fun playing with him, Trump. Yeah, they were, and notice they're both in suits too. They weren't in some casual outfit. Yeah, I thought that photo was classic. J.D. Vance there, I think that was significant. There was a reason for that. And J.D. Vance just stepped up, and I think that was a really good thing about it. And he's very intelligent man. And that's where we are. And after the whole thing, Trump talked to reporters because Trump's frustrated. He wants to end the war in Ukraine. He wants peace. Where Zelensky, according to Trump, is acting like a tough guy because we back him. So here we go.
Very good feeling. I think our country has really turned around. We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelensky, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great. From his standpoint, I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000 people died this week. Soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple. I'm not looking to get into anything.
So basically, the mineral deal, we're getting more behind the scenes. Trump was saying, okay, we're going to have a mineral deal with you, and you're going to make peace with Russia. And Zelensky, I guess at the last moment, decided, no, I don't want peace, but I want your money.
Protracted. I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to make, and he wants to end it. And you saw what I saw today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that, not for this country. So we're setting a lot of records. Economically, we're setting records, and I think every way we're setting records. One of the best is the right track, wrong track. You saw that. We're on the right track for the first time in over 27 years. People are...
Yeah, so Trump, again, Ukraine is a distraction. It's not something he wants to deal with. He definitely doesn't want our money to go there. And he's getting really frustrated with Zelensky. And it's perfectly clear. So, I mean, the cards are on the table. He says Zelensky has a weak hand. The only reason he can act like a badass is because he has the United States backing, or he thinks he does. But he thinks he can treat us disrespectfully, and we will still back him. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And his behavior was very shocking, very shocking. But that's how he is. That's not new with Zelensky. Other foreign leaders have run into the same issue with Zelensky. And I don't like that, but that's just the way it is. And it needs to stop. It really needs to stop. So we'll see what happens here. Europe is in a panic. Europe can say whatever they want. I think Trump's position, if Europe wants to fight for 10 years and drain themselves over Zelensky, good luck. And again, Europe doesn't have the resources. They've deindustrialized. They're a very weak continent. I mean, good people there, but sadly they become very weak. They're kind of still living in glory days like the old days. Britain's not like they were in the 19th century or even the 20th century. Neither is France. So we'll have to see. But it was what made for good. It was interesting though. It was good content. It was really good to see that happening. So that's basically. And the other thing that's going to happen when it comes to Ukraine is this is what people don't like to see. Everyone now hates Elon Musk because he's looking at where the money's going. And Trump said, you know, Elon, it's time to take a look at what's happened to the hundreds of billions of dollars sent to Ukraine. And Zelensky is not going to like that. Not going to like that. So, because again, we gave them all this money and Trump asked Zelensky, where did it go? Like half of it. Zelensky said, I don't know. So that's not a good answer. And Musk is going to try to figure out where it went. I have an idea where it went. I think we all know where the money went. So that's not going to look, and the answer is not going to look good to Zelensky. It's going to be, that's going to be pretty bad. So anyway, Zelensky was kicked out of the White House. And he was told basically he could come back if he ever wants to negotiate in good faith, and if he wants peace. But he's not going to come to the White House and disrespect us. We're not going to allow that. Oh, I got another thank you, KMEX, $20. Rams, this is too funny. A writer today said, imagine Netanyahu being scolded by Trump and told, we will not support Israel anymore in this Hamas war. It is too expensive. Haha, imagine that. The Jewish writer for the New York Times wrote it. Yeah, that is hard to imagine. But to be fair with Netanyahu, I'm not a big fan of, obviously, Israel's control over our country. They're not, Zelensky doesn't have the best interest in America, neither does Israel. But I would say Netanyahu he wears a suit. He shows up wearing a suit and a tie, and he doesn't mutter, at least in public, in some slur about J.D. Vance, and he doesn't act in that manner. He acts in a more diplomatic fashion. That matters. It really does matter how you conduct yourself. And again, every head of state that I've ever seen in my life pretty much has conducted themselves in a more dignified way. Hell, as Z-Man said, even Africans from African nations, they put on a suit and they're able to somehow control themselves. But yeah, that was it was bad. That definitely was bad. And again, Trump, we knew going in, he's a big Zionist for whatever reason. He's not a big pro, let's fight with Russia forever type of guy. That's just not how he is. And they have a weak cards. And the difference is the Ukrainians don't have that as much influence as Israel does over our politicians. They just don't. They don't have the media control or any of that. So they have to play it even more respectfully. And Zelensky, I think it just went to his head that he's super powerful and he can do whatever he wants. Because again, all the Europeans are always kissing his ass. Even under Biden, they were kissing his ass. You remember that shameful display when he spoke to the U.S. Congress? Nancy Pelosi and all those bitches were waving the Ukrainian flag, treated him like a rock star. What a very shameful moment. Trump and J.D. Vance are going to do that, though. So it's a new sheriff in town, and they definitely need to adjust. So, guys, it's been a good broadcast. I was really looking forward to it tonight because I knew there was some great stuff to talk about, and this was one of those. And it's weekend. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll be back next week with my Ramsey Paul show, Monday through Friday, Wednesday night. I will be doing a show with Z-Man. I don't know our topic. I'll have to talk to Z-Man what he wants to talk about Wednesday. Been getting a lot of great feedback about that show. Maybe Sunday night, Sasha and I will do the show. I'll have to check with her. And, we got another one. 009. Imagine they were all dogs barking at each other. What breed of dogs would they be? That's a good question. I see Zelensky as one of those yappy dachshunds. My grandmother used to have a little dachshund. It's a miniature dachshund. And it was a mean thing. And it didn't have any sense. It would actually go up to big dogs. A big dog. It went up to this big, what do you call it? Not a mastiff, but, I forget. It was one of those big dogs, like winter dogs. And it tried to attack this big dog. And the big dog just picked up the little dachshund. It didn't hurt it and just flipped it over. And the little dog, the dachshund, went yelping back to my grandmother. And that is, so I see Zelensky being a little miniature dachshund that's yapping. I see, I don't know, Trump, what kind of dog breed would he be? I know I called J.D. Vance a pit bull, but he's a little bit more sophisticated than that. I would say J.D. Vance is more like a German Shepherd. He's a good guard dog, but he's very intelligent. So I give him a German Shepherd. And Trump, he would probably be I don't know, what would he be? He would be maybe like a Rottweiler. Could be or a boxer. Could be usually a good dog, but can get pretty tough. So that's how I see them as dogs. That's a good question. Thank you. And then also Tuesday night, we have our roundtable. So sign up to the Substack. And sign up for the Substack anyway. Monday through Thursday, I do a free column. And on Fridays, I do usually a video now to my subscribers. I do appreciate you all. So anyway, guys, have a great night. It's Friday night. Hope you have a great weekend. Talk to you later.